Hi, this is the Chapter 9 assignment overview. Let's look at the assignment objective first. This is another assignment that's going to deal with assessment. So I'm going to scroll down here. Looking at Chapter 9, you're going to look at all the different instructional strategies. Marzano has another whole entire book that's written just about these instructional strategies. And the reason for that is because we can see a high level of student achievement when we put these strategies into practice. Basically, as he explains in the book, they went through and they looked at effective teachers and what effective teachers did, and they found a few commonalities. So it's kind of neat that you can look at this and get the same information that some teachers take many years to learn just through trial and error. You can look at these lists and get an idea of what's going to work for you right now, even if you're a first-year teacher. What I'd like you to do is read through the chapter, pick one of the strategies that's listed in the chapter that you're not already doing it, and then you're going to implement that and assess the results. One thing I want to make sure that you understand is this really isn't a valid research study. You're going to be comparing apples to oranges here. There are quite a few variables, there are a lot of limitations to doing something this way, but the point isn't for you to do a real legitimate research project with this particular assignment. The point is to get you used to implementing something and taking data from it and analyzing that data. So I think that you'll still get some good information out of this, and you might see some gains. You might see something that, oh, I want to go a little bit further with that, and that's fine. But just be very aware that this is not a true research design. I'm going to scroll down here. If we look at the assignment, when you're reading through the chapter, I want you to pick something that you're not doing right now, or you're not doing with a certain group of kids. And before you implement that chosen behavior, that strategy, give your students an assignment or assessment on something. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be a summative assessment on Chapter 10. That's fine. But pick something that you're going to assess them on. And remember, you're going to use the same group of students to implement the intervention and then assess them afterwards. So the topic is up to you. Just make sure it's the same group of students. And you can do formative assessment or you can do a summative assessment. I'm leaving that up to you as well. So once you pick the students, you give them an assessment on some topic, implement that specific behavior that you chose from the strategy. Do it for at least 1 week. You want to have enough time for them to actually experience what you're working on. And then assess the students again with the same type of assessment. You're not giving them the same exact test. This isn't pre and post test. You don't want to use a pre and post test because then you're not really measuring whether what you did mattered. Maybe they would have the same results if you did not use a strategy. So you don't want it to be the same exact test like a pre and post, but the same type. So if you did a formative the first time, do a formative the second time. If you did summative, do summative. And then interpret the results. Again, this is not a standard research design, but still you get an idea of looking at this. Did the students achieve higher, lower? Did it stay the same? I just want to give you practice taking data and looking at the results. There are a few areas here that I'm going to let you decide what you want to do. First thing, are you going to use the same topic throughout? And I give the example of adding fractions. So say you start on Monday and you teach them about adding fractions and you do that for a week and then you assess them. And then next week you continue with that same topic but you add your intervention in place and then you assess them again after a second week. You can do that and it'll be the same topic. You're obviously going to have some limitations if you do that because that second week the scores might be higher. But is that just because they had an extra week of instruction, or is it because of what you did? It's going to be hard to tease that out. But in the same vein, if you do two different topics, so say you do fractions for a week, assess them, and then the second week you do your intervention, and maybe you're doing subtraction of fractions, where you did addition of subtraction the first week. So now you have a different topic, and you assess them. But again, can you tell that the gains are because of what you did, or is it because that topic was easier than the first one, or maybe it was harder? So with the number of data points that we're taking here, you don't really have enough to draw a full conclusion. So no matter what you do, you're going to have some limitations, but that's okay. The point is doing the assessment, interpreting the results, and getting some practice and feedback with that. So just make your choice. Pick the lesser of two evils, whatever that is to you, and you're just going to justify why you made that choice. But again, there's really not any right or wrong answer. It's just what do you want to do. It might even just be based on availability, on student availability and time. That's fine too. Okay, decide, do you want to do a formative or a summative? If you're doing a formative assessment, you're probably going to be doing the same topic throughout. That would probably be like my example of the 2 weeks of adding fractions. The summative assessment might be an end of chapter exam. And so maybe you do chapter 10 and you compare that against chapter 11. That's fine. Just choose what you'd like to do. And then finally, what about student absences? What if you have somebody absent during the first test or the second test? Do you just drop their scores, or are you going to give them a chance to take the test when they come to school? Again, no right or wrong answers. You just choose what you like to do and justify it. Tell me what you did and tell me why. And there might be a couple other little things that come up once you start doing this that I didn't cover in this sheet. And so just make your decisions and give a justification for it. I'm going to go down to the rubric. So the first thing, the instructional strategy behavior. You're going to tell me what specific behavior you're working with and why did you make that choice. And then the methodology. This is methodology interpretation. These are going to be the bulk of your points here. Tell me how you carried out the activity. So which topic did you use? Did you use fractions both times? Did you do U.S. history? What topic are you talking about here? Make sure you tell me student demographics. So what grade are we talking about? Boys versus girls, special ed, anything like that that's important that you need to throw in to tell me who this population is. Again, be very careful. You want to stay anonymous. No student names, no identifying factors, but just a general idea of who the students are. What type of assessment did you choose? Formative, summative, multiple choice, essay, what did you pick? And what kind of timeline? Did you take a week for one thing, a week for another? Just give me some ideas there. And then state the limitations of methodology. No matter what you choose, there's going to be some significant limitations here because of the format that we're using. Again, that's fine, but just make sure you state them, okay? And then interpretation of results. I would like to see your raw scores and tell me your discussion. So you're going to give me in some format the raw scores. Make sure it's easily readable. So a chart would be great. Something that I can look at and very easily tell what the first test before implementation was, what the second test after implementation, what those results were. You really make sure that's nice and clear and easy to read, and the actual raw scores are there, not just a compilation. I'd like to see actual raw scores. And then you give me your summary and discussion. So tell me what you noticed. Like overall, did the scores go up? Did they go down? Did it differ for boys or girls, special ed, gen ed? Kind of tease that out a little bit and get an idea of what happened. And then, of course, the lovely formatting and grammar. Grammar, spelling. You probably won't have a ton of citations here when you're discussing your the choice that you made. You're probably going to cite something from the book, so it's probably going to be your only citation, but make sure that's appropriate, make sure you have it done correctly, and check your spelling and grammar. Any questions, please let me know.